Special welcome to all of you joining. Thank you, loves. Let me know where you're joining us from. Let me know where we are kind of pulling energy from in the world in this meditation. As I was saying, and I think a lot of people couldn't hear me, so I'm just going to repeat myself. My name is Megan Monahan, and I want to welcome you to Self-Care Sunday, which is something that Heal so brilliantly does every other Sunday of the month in collaboration with WellSet. So I'm joining you from the WellSet crew as a meditation instructor. And if you are new to WellSet, if you are not in the know, let me just tell you that we've got you covered. So if you are not already connected to WellSet, it is an incredible digital holistic health studio that is bringing you classes to help you balance your body, your mind, your emotional body, your spiritual body. Like, we've got you covered over there. So if you are new, definitely check that out. I'll drop a discount code in the chat for you all later so that you can get 25% off your monthly membership to WellSet. But please go and check it out and come take class with me over there if you like what we get into this morning. So we've got quite the crew in the house. We've got New York, where I am from, holding it down. Us New Yorkers especially have to meditate because we're from New York. We've got Australia, we've got Germany, we've got Florida, we've got Norway. Gosh, we've got Texas. I love the internet for meditation because you really can tap into this collective consciousness that you can't do in the same way when you are reliant on being in the same space. And what we know is that energy is not what we call local. So energy is not bound by this physical room. So I'm based in Los Angeles, where I'm a full-time meditation instructor and speaker, author. My energy here in Los Angeles can be felt by all of you in Germany and all of you in Australia and all of you in New York, right? It is not something that we need to be in the same room to experience and tap into. So I'm super excited to have you all in here, and I'm really pumped to talk a little bit about intuition. So intuition, I think, can often be felt and experienced as this very kind of esoteric, airy-fairy, woo-woo concept. And I think a lot of the conversation around intuition in our modern world is very much riddled with phrases like, I got a download from the universe, and I'm just tapping into my inner guide and following my true north. And let me be clear, I think all those things, and I sometimes say all those things. And there are ways to think about intuition that are absolutely science-backed. So WellSet is really big on bringing you like ancient practices and teachings that are backed by science. So I will just share with you that, my background for the last 15 years in meditation has been predominantly in the Vedic lineage of meditation. I learned how to meditate with Deepak Chopra, subsequently quit my job in the music industry at the time and ended up working with Deepak for the following 13, 14 years at this point. So my lineage of meditation is very much dominated in that Vedic lineage. And yes, you can use all of the woo-woo terms, but also what we know now is that all of those woo-woo terms, for the most part, are finding their way into a conversation that is absolutely backed by science and research. So when we talk about intuition, it is not an exception. And we can look at the ways in which transcending the kind of more surface level brainwave states that we're in, the brainwave states where we are most of the day, this like waking state, where we are in the most conditioned part of our mind, the part of our mind that has repeat thoughts. It's estimated that around 70% of our thoughts are repeat thoughts. So the worst, right? Not great if we're being honest. And one of the ways that we can transcend that most kind of superficial conditioned layer of our mind are through things like meditation, practices like meditation. And as you start to get into deeper layers of your consciousness, or if we want to use the scientific term, as you start to access different brainwave states, all of a sudden you have access to new thoughts, to more creative thoughts, more expanded thoughts, thoughts that are not, as I would say, sponsored by fear, scarcity, constriction, which is, again, that most superficial layer where we mostly think from is just riddled with fear, not wanting to lean into anything that is uncertain, not wanting to move into anything that is unknown. And again, not because we don't all want to be our best selves, but because there is a real part of your brain whose job it is to keep you in the known, to keep you safe, to keep you alive, right? So when we talk about intuition, when we talk about downloading messages from the universe, when we talk about, connecting with our truest north and letting that be the guide, what we're really talking about is accessing the parts of our brain and the parts of our creative mind that we don't often always get access to. So when I think about connecting with intuition, this is something that I learned from Deepak. What I often will do is meditate on something. And so what does that mean? Because that's another really great phrase that you hear people like me say to you all the time. Oh, just meditate on it. Something I used to hear Deepak say all the time. Just meditate on it, right? I'm not going to give you the answer. You know the answer. Just meditate on it. And so what does that actually mean? And how do we do that? Because it sounds great. And then you get home and you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to meditate on it. And how do we do that, right? So when we meditate on something, I like to imagine that it is as if you are casting a fishing line out. And if I'm being really transparent, because I think we're at that point, right, in our relationship, I think I can be really honest with you. My mind immediately pictures this 80s Fisher-Price kids toy that I had when I was young. It was this little plastic fishing pond. When I say pond, it was like a plastic cup that you would fill with water, and there were these fish that you would put in that water with their mouths open, and there was a magnet in the mouth. Do you guys remember this? It's not just me, right? 80s New Yorker. Where's my New Yorker at? You for sure had that toy. And then you'd have this little plastic fishing rod with a string, and the whole toy was literally for you to just hold it over the fish and try to catch the fish, right? So when I think about meditating on whatever it is that I want to know, whatever it is that I'm looking for clarity around, looking for guidance around, all I will do in my meditation practice, and I'm going to guide you through this today, is ask the question and imagine that I'm just casting the fishing line out. Imagine that I'm just holding that fishing line with the magnet on the end over all these fish and just waiting for it to attract up the fish, the answer. There's a great line that I love. I think Einstein is credited with saying it. And the quote is, "The level of awareness that produced the question, is not the same level of awareness where the highest answer resides." I'm going to say that again. The level of awareness that produced the question. The part of you here, spoiler alert, your mind, the part of you that doesn't know is not the same part of you that knows. The part of you that produced the question, the part of you that is like, I don't know what to do. I just need to figure it out. What is it? What's the solution? What's the answer? What do I do? That part of you, the constricted, not knowing part of you, is not the same part of you where the answer is, right? And consider that if the answer was there, it wouldn't be a question, right? You know what you know what you don't know, but there's a whole lot that you don't even realize you don't know. And that is what we tap into in meditation. We tap into that field of infinite intelligence that is coded within us that we don't even know is there, that we don't have access to, right? So when we meditate on something, when we want to tap into that intuition and meditate on something, I will ask the question, imagine that I've gone fishing, and then you listen, right? You listen and you notice if anything comes up, if any whispers of an answer kind of float to the surface and bite onto that fishing line, right? And a lot of times, just spoiler alert, I'm so sorry in advance, a lot of times the answer doesn't show up in that moment. So sometimes, of course I've had meditations where I'll ask the question and I'll hear the download from the universe, right? So juicy. I'll hear the answer. I'll feel the answer. I'll have this like drop in of knowingness. But when I hear most of my answers to things, I hear them when I'm walking my dog. Shout out to River. I hear them when I'm walking my dog. I hear them when I'm working out. I hear them when I'm teaching a lot. I hear them when I'm teaching or working with a client a lot. I'll have like a new thought and I'm like, oh wow, that's a really good new thought. I need to write that down. Most of the time I don't hear them in meditation. So I think that's the other thing that comes into play with intuition is adjusting your expectation and knowing that your relationship with your intuition gets to be a 24/7 conversation. It's not just, okay, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to tap into my intuition, I'm going to get the inner guidance from that most creative level of my mind, and then I'm going to go live my best life. Right? Wouldn't that be nice if it was like that, if we could like schedule tapping into our intuition? But it doesn't work like that. And the beautiful thing of it not working like that is that you start to have access to this higher level of intelligence all the time. Right? It no longer becomes this thing that you're kind of trying to acquire, and it becomes this thing that you are in very regular conversation with. Doesn't that sound good? Give me like a little heart, give me like a star, give me something if that sounds better than just like trying to think your way out of something. Because isn't that what we try to do? Right? I was very tempted to do this very recently. Something was happening and it wasn't going the way that I wanted it to. The audacity of the universe to not revolve around me and my desires, right? And it wasn't going the way that I wanted it to. And instantly I tried to think my way through it. I tried to just think really hard. And ultimately that's the worst thing that we can do. Thinking really hard, I would argue, about anything is maybe the worst thing that we can do. But if you can take a step back and soften into a higher level of your mind, higher in a sense of consciousness, a brainwave state that supports you moving beyond all of the thoughts that you have every single day on repeat and getting access to new thoughts, new insights, new awareness, right? That's where the magic is. Doesn't that sound good? So have I sold it? Are you ready to meditate? Are we down to meditate on all that and tap into our intuition? I'm going to teach you all a really, really powerful universal mantra to use. And this is predominantly the type of class that I teach with WellSet. So again, if you're vibing with it, definitely come hang out with me over there. Again, you have a discount code HEAL25 to have 25% off your membership to WellSet. So I hope I'll see some of you over there. I'll make sure to put all that info in the chat here. But mantra, meditation. Mantra is a Sanskrit word that means mind vehicle. The reason that I love a mantra is because I am from New York and I have a very busy mind. Shout out to all my very, very busy minds. The people out there that are like, I can't meditate. Do you know how much is going on up here, Megan? There's no way that I can certainly silence my thoughts, let alone surrender and just watch them. That doesn't really work. So number one, in case no one's ever told you, no one's ever stopping their thoughts. No one's ever silencing their mind. As long as you have a pulse, let's all just do a quick pulse check. As long as you have a pulse and you're alive, you're going to have your thoughts. Be really okay with that, okay? The reason I love a mantra is because it acts as one thought that you're going to focus on. And this one thought is going to be in Sanskrit. Dead language, ancient dead language. So I think it's safe to say none of us were raised speaking Sanskrit. And because of that one thought, this mantra that I'll give you in a moment, really building the suspense over here, that one thought isn't going to mean anything to your mind. So let's just say I had you meditate with a phrase like, I am guided. Let's go with a really good, affirming, intuition-based phrase. If I had you meditate with that, I am guided, I am guided, I am guided. All of those words mean something to your mind, right? So your mind is very easily going to say, oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Let's think about this. But if I give you a mantra in a language that your brain doesn't understand, that is very energetically significant, but not meaningful to your thinking mind, all of a sudden there is this neutrality that exists. And again, you're not stopping your thoughts, but you are slowing them down, right? So it kind of goes from like thought to thought, right? So it's slowing down the fluctuations of the mind, right? Which is a really beautiful definition of meditation. Meditation is the slowing down of the cessations, of the fluctuations of the mind. Okay, so the mantra that we're going to use today, my loves, is 2 words. First word is so, H-O, or S-O. Second word is hum, H-U-M. So hum, so hum, so hum. Say that with me one time. So hum, so hum. Okay, mantra so hum kind of distills down to an English essence of I am. I am. So very grounding, very present moment awareness, nourishing universal mantra. It's also one of the mantras that can really authentically be linked with your breath. Most mantras are not meant, a lot, I shouldn't say most, many mantras are not meant to be linked with your breath. This one can be. So again, if you are someone that has a super busy mind and you have a really hard time settling in, you can link this with your breath. As you breathe in, silently repeat so. As you breathe out, hum. Okay? All right, so we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna guide you through this. So nothing for you to do except listen and hang out here until I say, have a great rest of your day. As long as you do that, I promise you will meditate successfully regardless of what it feels like. Remember that the beauty of meditation, the magic of meditation, the benefits of meditation predominantly show up outside of your meditation, right? So what happens in your meditation stays in your meditation. It's kind of like Vegas, but much more spiritual and with less alcohol. Hopefully, no judgment, but hopefully. So we're gonna dive in here, loves. I want you to find a really comfortable position, whatever that is for you this morning. And then I'm gonna have you join me in gently closing your eyes. And just take a few slightly deeper than normal breaths. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And let's do one more breath like that. In through your nose, and just pause at the top of that inhale for a moment. Hold it for 4, for 3, for 2, and sigh everything out. And then let that breath begin to move really effortlessly in and out through your nose. And just start to acknowledge here the fact that you're breathing. Maybe for the first time today, paying attention to the sensation of your breath and acknowledging in your mind, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. I am breathing in, I am breathing out. I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And then just start to notice what this moment sounds like without any judgment. Start to notice what this moment sounds like. Letting go of the idea that in this moment anything is right or wrong. Any sound is good or bad. Just allowing whatever exists to be acknowledged. Begin to notice through that same lens any physical sensations. And then as well, noticing what your inner world feels like right now. How are you feeling emotionally, mentally? And once again, just allowing that to be acknowledged without any judgment. And then starting our practice here by inviting a little bit of intention around what we are looking to hear or learn from that intuition within us. So if there's something in your life that you're looking for clarity around, if there's an answer that you're craving, if there's something that you want to know, I'll invite you to just silently ask it. And if there's nothing specific that comes to mind, you can simply silently ask, what is it that I need to hear right now? So if there's something specific, bringing that to mind. Otherwise, just asking that universal question, what is it that I need to hear right now? Just ask the question a few times and then take a moment and practice listening. Practice noticing any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that may arise in response. And then with that question in mind, take a long, slow, deep breath in. As you exhale out, completely let go of the question. Imagine it's casting that fishing line out and totally detaching from it. Trusting that the answer within you, that guidance within you has already been activated and is already bubbling up to the surface of your mind. Letting that question go entirely and beginning to silently now repeat to yourself the mantra, so hum, so hum, so hum. Again, if your mind is feeling turbulent, you can link that mantra with the breath as you breathe in, so, and as you breathe out, hum. And when you notice that your attention drifts to a sound, to another thought, to a sensation in your body, just notice. Just notice where you've gone and gently find your way back. So hum. Notice where your mind is. Continuing to gently find your way back. So hum. So hum. Strengthening your ability to simply notice where your mind is. And using that muscle of awareness to bring it back to where you want it to be. So hum. With your eyes remaining closed, releasing the repetition of the mantra. And finding once again, just as we did as we started our practice, the sensation of your breath. Find the feeling of that inhale and exhale. And begin to become aware of the natural space that exists in between each breath that you take. Find that moment after you exhale, but before you take that next breath in. And being reminded that every single breath you take offers you that moment to pause. That moment in between each breath, however brief, that is saturated with stillness, with silence, and with that space for you to decide how you want to respond in this present moment and the intention that you want to carry in to the next moment, how you want to be and who you want to be in that next moment, in that next breath. And so if it resonates, maybe just connect with one thing that you want to continue to bring your awareness back to throughout the rest of this day. Every time you find yourself in that space between the breath, what's the quality that you want to embody more of? And maybe just dropping that into your awareness gently here. Let's take another long, slow, deep breath in together. Exhale, sigh everything out. And when you're ready, go ahead and allow your eyes to float open gently. Welcome back. I want to thank you all and acknowledge you all for being here, for meditating. Again, my name is Megan Monahan. I will put my handle in the chat here along with the promo code that I hope you will consider using to come and meditate with me over at WellSet. Again, the most amazing digital studio that is just there for you, waiting to give you all the tools you need to be physically balanced, mentally and emotionally nourished and regulated. All these incredible practices, science-backed practices that have their roots in the oldest healing wisdoms known to man. No big deal, casual. So please consider checking that out. I have had so much gratitude today leading up to this because I get to spend some time meditating with you all. So I would love to see you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Heal, as always, for fostering the most incredible mindful community and for inviting me to crash Self-Care Sunday. If you haven't done this before, check it out every other Sunday at this time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They are hooking it up for you with just an infusion of goodness. So I'll hang out for a second if you have any questions or comments, if anything came through in your meditation, if you were one of the lucky ones that had your download from the universe in your meditation, throw that in the chat. Would love to hear it. Otherwise, you're always welcome to spiritually slide into my DMs if something comes in that you want to share. But thanks for being here. Thanks for meditating. I think if the world needs more of anything, one of the top things on that list is meditators and people with consciousness and people looking to expand their consciousness. So thank you for being one of those humans. We need you. And it's been such a pleasure spending time with you all and hanging out. So again, go to WellSet, WellSet Co. Use that code HEAL25. Come meditate with me over there. And I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.